Alright, so here we are with our spreadsheet that we finished from last time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new sheet. I'm going to add some data to it, and then I'm going to put the equation of those two lines on there. Alright, so I'm going to create a new sheet in my shared document. So I'm going to go down to the plus sign to add the sheet. And then I'm going to double click on where it says sheet 3, and I'm going to call this models for P, E. Alright, so first thing I need to do is put my labels in row 1. So in A1, I'm going to put years since 1/1/13. And again, I'm going to wrap that one like I have before. Then in B1, I'm going to put price at the end of the quarter. And then I'm going to go ahead and wrap that one. Now this is a new one. This is the column where I'm going to put the points for the line. And since that's an estimate of the price, I'm going to call that EST of price. In D1, I'm going to put trailing 4 quarters of earnings. And I'm going to wrap that one. And then in E1, I'm going to put the estimate of the trailing earnings. And I'll wrap that one. Alright, so I need to put in here the values that I want that line to be drawn at. So I'm going to start the line at 0 and then go to 0.25, and then I'm going to keep repeating that pattern till I get all the way down to 2. So I'm going to do a fill here, so I'm going to select those two cells. So I clicked on the first cell and then use my mouse to drag it down, go down to the fill, and if I put that all the way down to A10, it'll fill 0, 0.25, 0.5, all the way down to 2. Now I need to put in my data points here, and I'm going to do that pretty easily. I'm going to go back to where I was before. I'm going to click there. Now I'm going to hold the mouse button down, select those cells and say copy, then go over, put where I want it to go, so it's going to start there, and I'm going to say paste, and that pastes those values in. I'm going to do the same thing over here for the trailing 4 quarters of earnings. So back to the data tab, I'm going to click on the cell there, and while I'm holding the mouse button down, I'm going to drag and then say copy. Back to my model, click there, edit, paste. So now my data is in. Now I need to put the corresponding points on the line in column C and column E. So I'll go up to C2, and since it's going to be calculating these values, I'm going to start it with an equals. And you remember the equation was 17/15 x plus 7,201 over 150. So 17 divided by 15. I'll use the star key as a times, that is. Now I'm going to click on the 0 plus 7,201 divided by 150. Hit enter, and it calculates that value for me. I could do that for every one of these cells, or you guessed it, I could click here, grab the fill bar, and drag it down. Now, this is very, very good. Remember I wanted this to go through 2 points? Did it actually do that? Well, that cell says 49.14 on the line, and that's the data. So I know it goes through that point. And the same thing down here. Here's 49.99, and there's 49.99. If your line does not match up perfectly with 2 of the data points in here, you've got a mistake somewhere. Go back and check your algebra. All right, now let me do the same thing for my trailing earnings. I'll start it with an equals, and the equation for this one is 27/25 times x plus 293 divided by 100. So I'll type 27 divided by 25, and I use the slash on the keyboard to do that. Now the star, I'll click on the x value, plus 293 divided by 100. Hit enter. Now I'll go ahead and do the fill, and everything works out right. There's the point I wanted to go through, and there's the other point I wanted to go through. They match up just as they should. So now I know that my two lines are correct. Now what I want to do is graph those. All right, so what I'm going to do to graph it is I'll go up to A1 and click in it, and while holding the mouse button, I'm going to drag and select everything that I've just put in there. Now go up to Insert, Chart, and we'll proceed like we did in the earlier assignment. I'm going to go to Charts, Scatter, and choose the scatter plot. And then I'll go over to Customize, and I'm going to put in a chart title, Verizon VZ. I'm going to scroll down. On the horizontal axis, I'll do years since 1/1/2013. And notice it's already 0 to 2, but if I wanted to make sure the window stayed that way, I could put 0 and 2 in for my max. Now I'm going to go over to left vertical, and I'm going to put dollars per share. And again, I could customize it here. It's already at 0 to 60, but if I want to make sure it always stays that way, I could put those numbers in. Now let's go ahead and click Insert. Wow, that looks pretty good. The problem is my data points right here and the points on the line are so close together it's hard to tell them apart. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go to one of these points on the line and click it. And what you'll notice is it allows me to go up here and change the size of the dot. I'm going to make it smaller, and I'm going to make it in black. So now when I look at this, I can see that it's going through the first point and the last point. If I do the same thing down here, I'm going to make the points on the line smaller, and then change the color to black. So now when I look at everything here, I can see my estimate of the price is in black. My estimate of the trailing earnings is also in black. Now, I don't know if I like that or not. I think maybe they should be in different colors. So maybe I'd come back here and change it to something like, oh, I don't know, dark green. But the nice thing about it is when I change it, it also changes it in the legend right here. Some people like to go ahead and make the line color be the exact same color as the data. That's fine. But come up with some kind of way that it doesn't look psychedelic and that it's easy to tell what each thing is on your graph. All right, I'm going to take this now. I'm going to grab it and move it over here. And now that looks pretty good to turn in. We've gone ahead and put our models on here, and we have our data values over here, and we see that it passes through the points that it's supposed to pass through.